Hi, it's Hazel, and welcome to my channel. Today we're here to talk about men's hairdos. No, not really. It's the next episode in the What's in My Bookcase series. And I don't know how long today's video will be. I just, as I was gathering some of my art books together to shoot this video, I realize that I have shown some of them to you before. So again, I apologize if there are any duplicates, any duplication or repetition. I do, before beginning though, I do want to say that I've missed you guys. I've kind of been missing in action myself. Not doing as many videos, not posting as much to Instagram, and I have a really good reason. I have a note from the doctor. No, we are, excuse me, we are working on some landscaping here around the house. In past conversations, I've mentioned that we did an addition to our house. I think it was 2018. So of course, the smart thing to do is wait until the ground settles around before you do things like that. Anyway, I don't know what it's like at your house, but around here, sometimes you need to have a sort of a drop dead deadline to move projects along to completion. Otherwise, they can drag on for weeks, months, years. So my son and his family from the States are, well, they're in Alberta now. And so that is our, that's our deadline. That's our reason for pushing to get this done. I won't, get into the nitty-gritty details. Just say that it's been brutal, back-breaking work. It's on a farmyard type scale, and I say, tongue in cheek, that if this project kills us, at least the yard will look nice for the funeral. That's gallows humor, by the way. Anyway, I will begin. I just want to say that I am looking forward to having this project done and to get back into days filled with crafting and creating content and getting projects done and doing all those things that make me feel best about that just make me feel my best. Anyway, these are slip cases from some Time Life art books that I bought. Now, the books that I'm showing you today are all, I would say, quite recent acquisitions. In other words, I got them since I became aware of what junk journals are. So I know that in the case of these books, and I'll quickly show you these boxes because they're kind of nice in themselves. Now, of course, I took the books out of them so I would save a little time, which means that I'm going to then have to match them up with the right books. Some will be easier than others to figure out, I think. Anyway, these books I got for $1 each. So, I mean, how can you go wrong with that? Excuse me. I don't know whether you can hear the rain. It's really dark and dreary out there, but that is great because the rain is what we've needed and hopefully will put a dent into the smoky conditions and extinguish some of the forest fires that have been burning both here and in British Columbia. Okay, I guess I'll show you these one by one, and it'll be fairly quick. The World of Manet. Now these are Time Life books. I have 5 of them. I don't know if there are others. There probably are others. The books are large And you can see that the reproductions are likewise are large. So again, this is the sort of thing that lends itself well to envelope making. I guess the other nice thing about buying used books is sometimes you get all kinds of little doodads. You know, you find these little surprises in the book, so that's always a bonus. Now, of course, these books feature the work of what are considered the masters, and many of them are, I think these are probably all from the, I was going to say all from the 1800s, but I see the next one is even older. So, now where am I going to put all this stuff? I'm trying to juggle a coffee here too. This one, The World of Velázquez, 1599 to 1660. So, you know, we may not know the names of all the artists, and we may not be familiar with, you know the title. Oh, this will tell me which book, which case to put this one back into. We may not know the names of all the works, but many of them will be recognizable because, of course, that's how you become a master, when your work is popular and you know, kind of used as an example of great technique or interesting subject matter, whatever the case may be. I do have other art books that will, oh, this is even older, 1471 to 1528, and that's Dürer. This, I do have other, and we can tell that, you know, they're older. I do have other art books, ones that I would have bought, you know, over probably a few decades. That would be cool. Yeah, some really, I mean, a lot of the really old images are, well, great, I mean, contain violence, but also, you know, a fair bit of nudity. I don't know. I think the rules about that are probably a little laxer when they're considered to be artistic as opposed to, you know, kind of sensationalized. Now this is dark and creepy. Okay, let's keep going here. Cézanne. So the books are pretty well structured the same way. Bibliography at the back. Oh, here's kind of a, you know, saying who the prominent artists were, in which countries, over what timeline. This guy was kind of famous for his still life paintings. Madame Cézanne. Again, I think a person can find a painting, you know, whether they're portraits or landscapes or still life, that will represent just about any subject matter or era or mood that a person wants to create in their project. I will put that one back where it belongs. these days, if I'm in a thrift store, I will, and if the price is right, I will pick up art books just for the sake of the images that are, okay, this one is Van Gogh. For the sake of the images that are in there. And again, if I've just paid a few, $1 or $2, then I don't feel, they're not, I was going to say they're not as precious. That's not true. They're still precious, but I feel more willing to, take them apart and reuse the parts, so to speak. Okay, what have we here? Claude Monet. That's French. And, I guess it's sailing boats in English. Monet. So I don't have a Monet. Anyway, okay, you get the idea about these. So, I'm pretty sure that I have shown you things like this. So this actually came in a folder. Now this is you can see how very shiny this is. But these are, hard. Okay, Paul Cézanne died in 1906. Anyway, so these are 6 different, reproductions of his paintings. And this is a book with, a bit more information. But you can just see how high gloss that is. Now we know that there are ways to cut back the shine a bit and kind of, maybe vintage-ize it. Just made up a new word. Either with, gentle sanding or adding gesso or something to that effect. But the reason, and I may have shown you this before, but the reason I wanted to bring this one in particular back is because this is a guide. So someone obviously must have gone to Italy and to the particular gallery there and purchased this guide. So it's an explanation of all the artwork in there. This one is $19.99, but of course the work is much, 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 much older. So, and I think we've probably all done things like this when we're on vacation somewhere. Either photographs aren't allowed or our photography doesn't do the work justice. So we buy a book that will help us remember what we saw, and it's never, as good as the experience of being there, but it is a way to remember. So that is one of the things that I think a person should pay attention to and be on the lookout for when looking at old books, because, after a while, people do tend to get rid of things like that. Oh dear, I'm having a bit of an issue here. So just along those same lines, this is something that I'm sure would have been bought at a gallery gift store or museum gift store. So it's a day book, but it's also, and the beauty of these is that they're one-sided. This is from the McMichael Canadian Art Collection. So it's a group of 7. So these are really important works in Canadian art. So again, a great thing to keep your eyes, keep on the lookout for when you're in the bookstores. I don't know, this probably doesn't qualify so much as an art book. It's called Canadian Portrait. So definitely would qualify as a coffee table book. It seems to be a mixture of photography and, you know, sort of, well, maybe mostly photography. So there are definitely some images to harvest from a book like this. And again, you know, you can only imagine what this would have cost to buy new as a hardcover, as an oversized hardcover. So I think it's another way for us to stretch our dollars in terms of, you know, getting supplies, raw material, whatever. This one is called Gender Advertising, or Gender Advertisements. This was obviously in a library and had been discarded, so I know I would have gotten that for very little money. So again, you know, just the sorts of things that we would probably like to cut out and use in some way or another. Now, of course, there's some sort of a message here too, maybe for people who are in the advertising business, and the probably the equalization of genders in the advertising world. This one is Letraset. Now that's a brand name of, well, I don't know what they would have been called back in the day. Like my husband took architectural technology, so if they were doing drawings, rather than printing everything out, they would have sheets of Letraset. So, okay, so suppose, now these are just samples of a particular font. Let's just find one. Anyway, it doesn't matter which one. Anyway, so suppose they had a sheet of these. So it would be an oversized sheet, like maybe 14 or 17 inches tall, and have all these, I guess what we would now call rub-ons. So the guys could label their drawings with, you know, whatever font sort of represented, you know, with whatever style, or I don't know, maybe they had a particular one that they always used. I don't know. I know that in the early days when I was doing a newsletter for a, I guess this is an indication of what the pages looked like. So this was probably a catalog. So there would be anything from little images to, straight lines, like you name it. You could have gotten a sheet of, or I don't know if they came one to a package or more. So it basically was probably almost like a precursor to today's graphic design, because this, of course, was all before computers. So when I saw a book like this, it, you know, naturally I picked it up because, okay, so you can see here that this guy is rubbing, you know, some of that ornate stuff onto a project that he's working on. I should tell you what year this is. 88. Yeah. Anyway, so, I guess there was tape that you could get as well. Anyway, I thought that was really cool just because I had some experience using it as well. Now, USSR, that of course was United Soviet Socialist Republic. And, you know, we all know what's going on in Russia and Ukraine right now, but this book features some of their artists. I guess looks like almost all of them are black and white except for a few. So again, these are from the 17 and 1800s. So You know, probably not exactly household names, but again, for the right price, of course I'll add it to my library. Kind of interesting, what year is this anyway? Kind of interesting end papers. I don't know, those were probably exhibits that were... Well, it looks like 7980 was probably when this maybe was a traveling exhibit or something. Okay, this one, Sketching with Markers, Thomas C. Wang, second edition, 1993. Landscape format. Oh, look at all these backing papers that they so kindly included. So basically, black and white imagery. Looks like mostly like landscape and streetscapes. Some how-tos. Again, you know, even just as things like this that are incomplete or that are studies are great for as collage fodder if you rip them up and work them into, say, a masterboard or something like that. Oh, there are a few color ones as well. Markers and pencils. Felt tip marker and colored pencil on white tracing paper. Markers on photographic paper. So, lovely. Artists above all, art celebrating the conquest of misfortune. Of course, I haven't read this, so I don't know what that means. Oh, this guy, well, I don't know. Anyway, the guy that wrote this apparently grew up in New Zealand and experienced a long period of disability, which included a year in traction. So I would think that these are people who have overcome something. Oh, foot and mouth painting artist. 2005. Okay, I see. So for those of us that complain that we can't do anything right with our with our hands, should try doing it with mouth or feet. And of course, you know, all sorts of styles, and paper is really shiny though, too bad about that. Obviously different feel, styles, subject matter. But again, that's the beauty of this, because we can pick and choose what we want to use in our projects. Oh, Van Gogh. This is quite a thin book, skinny book, 1992. So, I mean, obviously for a man who didn't live very long, his works are instantly recognizable, mostly because of the brush strokes. And again, when you have several art books, it's easy to kind of pick, you know, you don't feel as bad if you take one apart. Now, I don't know if I've shown you this before or not, but clearly I've taken the cover off. How to Paint and Draw, 450 illustrations in color and black and white. Oh, great, Roman numerals. My favorite. I'd say 1962. How's that for a stab in the dark? So this paper, these pages are small. The font is pretty interesting. It's sans serif, so that's a little different. And the paper is lovely. I just love anatomy. Name that organ. So of course there are a lot of cool things to use out of a book like this, and I guess that was my intention since I've taken it apart already. Now it's just a matter of getting on with it and doing it. Okay, 3 more of these and then I'll end with something totally different. I gravitated to this book. It's pretty tiny. I won't bother digging for my ruler, but you can see. Landscape, and it is 2005. Now this guy's Canadian, if I remember correctly. It's about the Grand River watershed. But look at these cute, so it's Ontario, Kitchener, Elora, not that I know these places, but is this not absolutely gorgeous? Like, any of these are frame-worthy. I love them, which maybe explains why this book is still intact. These almost little thumbnails of, and of course, this is sort of a landscape that I would be familiar with. Just love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And in case you're wondering, I love it. Okay, Nicolaides, The Natural Way to Draw. Now, I would say this, I checked this earlier. It seems to me it was written in 1941. I was going to say 49. This is kind of, I'd say, the Bible of drawing. So I first became aware of it when I was taking art classes. Now, one thing that that most art teachers would run their class through or instruct their class about are what are called gesture drawings. So they are very quick, loose, warm-up type things. So typically there'd be, no, it could be a fellow classmate or it could be a model who's been hired by the hour to pose for a class. But so the person would strike a pose. So in this case, you can see it's somebody who's kneeling and probably have their arms a little bit overhead. So in 30 seconds or so, the instructor would say, okay, capture the essence of that person. So by going through that kind of a process, a person is definitely loosened up. So those are gesture drawings. Now, the other big thing, and if you haven't tried this, it's worth doing. I mean, not more than once, clearly, because once doesn't cut it, is contour drawing. So one thing that we all have at our disposal is our hand. So if you're right-handed, you've got your left hand, and if it's the other way around, then you have your other hand. So anyway, the idea is that you would, and again, hands are not easy. Maybe it's simpler to start with a simple plant or a bottle. But basically, what you do is you put your pencil down on the piece of paper and you're looking only at the object you're drawing. You're not cheating and looking at your paper. And you're basically pretending that the whole mind game here is you're pretending that you're a tiny little insect crawling around very, very, very slowly, crawling around the object. And again, without taking your eyes off the thing you're drawing, you then come up with something that looks like this. The only time you're allowed to look at your paper is if you've come to a point where you need to kind of restart another plane, say. So that's Matisse did that one. So that is, okay, here's a contrast. This one is the contour drawing. So this is a bow. This is the gesture drawing. In contour drawing, you touch the edge of the form. In gesture drawing, you feel the movement of the whole. And of course, these exercises add to and, well, number one, definitely help a person see and contribute to expertise. There was a time when I had a little sketchbook and I would force myself to do contour drawings, you know, every day for whatever, different subject matters, you know, a vase, a cup, a shoe, or whatever, you know, household, easy to obtain items. And it's surprising, a person does get better. But like many things, there are also distractions and a million other things that we want to do. Georgia O'Keeffe. Now, there's no shortage of books about her. Her work is very, very, very recognizable. So let me find something that you would recognize. Really focused on where are they on florals, and really kind of blown up. You know, there's a calla lily. So gigantic. Oh, that's in centimeters. I was going to tell you what size that is. And to have two, not even complete blossoms fill the entire canvas. So this book actually shows other works of hers. So, but again, I would say that most people would say that her most successful and recognizable pieces are these oversized detailed florals or some of those skulls. Anyway, that concludes that. But I have these other two books that are kind of just on my shelf and are probably worth having a look at. 501 must-read books. Oh, and it looks like I tore this out of a newspaper too. 2003, so 2005. So basically, you know, sometimes people set that as a goal for themselves to read a certain, you know, follow a certain list of, you know, the top 50, the top 100. So, of course, this is arbitrary that, you know, somebody has decided that these are books that everyone should read. Can't say that I'm totally familiar with many of these. Let's just see what year this is. And 501, obviously. Okay, Sophie's World. Wizard of Oz. Little Women. Oh, okay, so that's under children's fiction. 2006. So categories: children's fictions, classic fiction, history, memoirs, modern fiction, science fiction, thrillers, travel. So again, this book would be interesting in case a person set that as a goal for themselves, or even just because of these book covers. Sarah Paretsky. So we're in Walter Mosley. So we're in the thriller section now. So I thought that was interesting. And again, I haven't done anything with it in terms of, you know, setting about doing it. And this one, I will end on this book. My Ideal Book Shelf, art by Jane Mount. So you can see that it's landscape format, and it's got illustrations of bookshelves. Isn't that cute? This book belongs to. So basically, oh, it looks like other people contributed to them. Dr. Seuss. The more that you read, the more things you will know. The more that you learn, the more places you'll go. Okay, so this, I see now how this was set up. A guy, an author, and this is, I guess, his choice for what he does have or would have on his bookcase. This is a writer, and those were, I don't know if that's a female or a male. Another writer. So basically, oh, and then here's a page where theoretically I could draw in some spines. So quite a few contributors, and I guess there's a little bit of a bio about each. But are these not cute? Cute, cute, cute. Again, if I was so inclined, I could use these pages, but this is one where it's almost nicer just to flip through, appreciate Hardy Boys. Cookbook author. Oh, why did they put this one back to back? And I don't know. I would think that, yeah, okay, Pucci, so that's the Yves Saint Laurent. So I would think that these illustrations are true to what the actual spines look like. It's not that somebody decided that they were just going to randomly illustrate. With books like this, it's also kind of interesting to look at each one and think, oh yeah, I've got that. Oh, I've read that. I don't know what that really means, other than it maybe shows that we have. Okay, remember Jonathan Franzen? Cool. Some of these are pretty short. Pretty short shelves. Anyway, I won't flip through everyone, even though I'm captivated by this. Okay, oh, Mary Karr. She's supposed to be, now is this her? I guess this would be her page. Sort of the, wrote the book on memoir writing. Okay, let me wind this up. I thank you for joining me. I haven't looked at my YouTube for a while. I'm sure I've fallen behind in answering some of your comments. I want to say again, for the record, that I am so grateful for those of you who have subscribed, for those of you who take the time to write. I have a soft spot in my heart for those of you who are sort of sharing with me who you are, what you like, what you appreciate in what I'm doing. And I don't know that you actually understand or maybe appreciate the extent to which that is true. This is, or can be, it is a solitary pursuit. So it's very gratifying to know that people in other parts of Canada, the US, halfway around the world, New Zealand, Australia, places like that, Europe, are finding something here that speaks to them. I've had a few people say that they appreciate my candor, that they appreciate that I make them giggle. And I'm thinking, well, woohoo, my job here is done. So I know that it seems a little kitschy, like Gail Augustinelli is, famous for her high and hugs. I don't know if it's an invasion of privacy, or if it's heartwarming to have people mentioned by name. But I really do feel inclined to start name dropping some of my subscribers, first names only, because you truly do make my day. I, again, thank you for joining me. And again, once we get this landscaping and this family visit, once we get through that, there will be some system, some regularity, some consistency with what I'm doing. In the meantime, I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you hanging in there with me. And again, we're still clawing our way to 500 subscribers. So if you can do anything to help me with that, woohoo! Thank you for that. Don't forget to give the videos a thumbs up and comment, because YouTube, that matters. And longest goodbye ever, but I'm really stopping now. So thanks, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.